Hey guys, and welcome. Through our Halo Infinite storyline, we were always made out to believe that Atriox was dead, but never really actually was very clear on how he died. Of course, towards the end of the game, we see Cortana and Atriox conversing in the Silent Auditorium, and Cortana basically asks him a rhetorical question and walks off into the light and puts things right, as she mentions, by destroying a portion of the Zeta Halo ring. But then, of course, within the legendary ending of the game, we then see Atriox there again, alive and well. And of course, this has a lot of people in the community confused and just perplexed, really, as to how Atriox got there at the end of the game. But in this video, I will give you guys every possible reason as to how Atriox is still alive at the end of the Halo Infinite campaign, and how he obtained the key to release the Endless from containment. And man, do I have a theory that I've got out of absolutely nowhere, pulled it out of thin air in fact. Which, to be honest, as all of the other leaks and all of the other theories do, make a lot of sense. No, but seriously, this is such a simple theory, and I've not seen anyone else talk about this, so again, we could be onto something here. We never know. It could just be as simple as this. But of course, guys, it is Christmas Eve, so I just wanted to say I hope you all go on to have a great Christmas. And of course, if you guys are getting Halo Infinite tomorrow, let me know what you think of it. And of course, let me know in the comments when you do play it for the first time. And then before we do jump into the video, guys, don't forget to drop a like on today's video as well. And subscribe for more content coming daily to the channel, of course. And don't forget to leave your thoughts and theories down below in the comments so that we can all come together as a community and have a discussion about them. No matter how crazy they are, do leave them below. But without further ado though, guys, let's get straight into it. So before we begin in this video, I just want to preface that around a week ago, I made a video on the channel which is around basically what happened to Atriox within the Halo Infinite campaign, so from start to finish. So I'll leave that in the link in the description down below if you want to go check that out. It is a good watch, so I do recommend going to watch it to see the backstory of Atriox and of course how they got to the point where they are at the moment within Zeta Halo. And again, it will basically fill the backstory of this video as well. So how did Atriox get to the location of the Endless, and how did he essentially get to the legendary ending after we seen the Silent Auditorium be, of course, destroyed by Cortana? Well, of course, within the Harbinger boss fight at the end of the game, she's attempting to connect to somewhere on the ring with the use of the transmitters around her within the Silent Auditorium. Now, a really important piece of information that I picked up during the boss fight was the weapon mentioning that the connection she was picking up from the Harbinger was in fact sentient. Which sentient, if you look at the meaning on Google, it basically means living, and it was searching for something. For me, this could be a series of things, but the more logical explanations for this would be, of course, number one, the Endless is Silex's, one of the 10 Protogravemind which are still stored on the Zeta Halo ring somewhere in confinement, or, of course, Atriox. And then one more really outlandish theory: there are still remnants of mendicant bias based on Zeta Halo. Of course, the majority of mendicant bias is, of course, buried within the arc, within what we've seen in Halo 3, but there are still remnants of mendicant bias across Zeta Halo. Again, potentially it was part of him. We don't really know at this point. Again, very, very outlandish theory, but at this point we really don't know. But after this, though, it switches to the final transmitter and it finds something. The weapon can't detect that, but something was found at the time. Again, at this stage, I presume this was the location of where the Endless are, which is then transmitted over to Atriox for him to free the Endless. Of course, this is what we all think at the moment. This is the theory that's going round, but this may not actually be what happened. And again, let me explain that. Of course, there were 3 transmitting towers within the Silent Auditorium, and each one was connecting to a different portion of the ring or performing a different action to one another. The first one was the Harbinger trying to open a connection from there, the Silent Auditorium, and somewhere else on the ring. Again, I presume this would be rather the location of the Endless. It could even be the location of Atriox, or it could be one of the 10 Protograveminds on the ring, or again, something completely different that we don't know. But anyway, onto the second one, she then establishes a connection, but the weapon finds that the connection is sentient. The Latin term for sentient is feeling. So I presume the use of this term would mean wherever this connection was open to, it was open to a living being or something that was living at the time. So as we mentioned before, it could be Atriox, or it could be one of the 10 Protograveminds that are stored within Zeta Halo in one of the Silexes maybe, or something like that. Again, there are so many parts of the Zeta Halo ring that we haven't even explored yet. The map that we're on is such a small part of this ring. Again, there's so much lore around Zeta Halo, around things like the Palace of Pain, all of the testing facilities and things like that, the place where the Primordial was stored and put into confinement. There are so many places that we haven't actually seen yet, which I believe will be essentially brought to us and shown within DLC. But again, it just shows that this literally connection could be anything on the ring that we don't know about at the time. So again, Open to interpretation, but let me know in the comments. The weapon then goes on to say after that, wait, there's something else here. Something's helping me. Again, for me, I think this may be offensive bias, as, again, he would only be deployed in the event of the Endless being freed, and of course we've seen this at the end of the legendary ending, where the Grand Edict mentions that offensive bias has been deployed, and again, in the event of the Endless being freed or attempting to be freed to help them remain in confinement. So, potentially something was helping the weapon, and that would be offensive bias, but again, let me know in the comments down below. Again, going on to when we actually defeat the Harbinger, and there's sort of a short cutscene towards the end of the game, she mutters the words that, "You have what you need, tell them I'm sorry that it took so long." Now, of course, we all presume that this is she speaking to Atriox at the time, and of course the thing that he needed was the key that he used in the legendary ending and the location the Endless was stored. However, could she be speaking to one of the Protogravemind on the ring? Because straight after this, the weapon tries to establish a connection and intercept her signal, but it's old, like really old. And surely if it was Atriox, maybe we'd be able to find out, where he is or who it is. If it's really old, maybe she wasn't talking to Atriox. Another thing to take into account as well, which is really interesting, and I actually thought this was writing the script, so again, this is literally a last minute thought for me, but it makes real sense here in this sort of trying to put this theory together. The Harbinger was working with the Banished throughout the entire game. Why did she not tell Esherum that Atriox was alive if she knew about it? And if she did know, why would Atriox want the Banished to think that he's dead? The army that he's worked so hard to form, it doesn't really make sense to me. So I don't actually think that she was speaking to Atriox at the end of the game. I think it might have been one of the Protogravemind or something that we've not been introduced to yet. We've got to remember that at the start of the Halo Infinite campaign, it was actually Esherum that released the Harbinger, not Atriox. And again, we found this out at the very start of the game from an audio log which was found throughout the campaign, basically stating that Lucas Browning was captured by the Banished in order to open the Silex with the Harbinger in. And again, it mentions Esherum in there. Esherum standing around with his army of the Banished there. Atriox wasn't mentioned at all. So it goes on to show that the Harbinger was released after Atriox had essentially been killed by the blast of the Halo ring. So maybe they didn't know that he was still alive and the Harbinger never actually met Atriox. Take that one in for a thought. After all, the Flood and the Endless are supposedly both remnants of the Precursors, so they might have the ability to telepathically establish a connection with one another. I mean, this is just me talking out loud right now, but maybe because the Harbinger could be a Reclaimer, again, we think that maybe potentially has the Reclaimer symbol on her head or armor. This could be how she connects to the transmitters inside the Silent Auditorium, and then from that, she can then establish a connection to another part of the ring, being of course where this Gravemind is or something like that, and of course that's where or who she was communicating with at the end of the game. Or even it could be another boss that was in a separate Silex, similar to what the Harbinger was. Of course the Harbinger was in a separate Silex, what the Endless was. Potentially there's going to be another big boss, which I presume there will be, from the Endless, which the Harbinger was communicating with, and this new boss was released from the Silex by the Harbinger from the Silent Auditorium. Again, these are theories, but I think that's a better explanation in theory, rather than her just talking to Atriox, because I don't actually think that that was the case. Crazy theory time. What if Atriox already had the key and stumbled across the location of the Endless and accidentally unleashed a faction he doesn't know anything about? Not once in the campaign does Atriox mention the Endless. He only says that he wants to find out the secrets of the ring and will find them out, but doesn't specifically mention or state that he knows what these secrets are. What if throughout the process, the Harbinger was establishing a connection with the Protogravemind, releasing it from its Silex, or again, as I mentioned previously, another leader of the Endless, and her saying, "You have what you need," which is being of course released from the Silex at the location of the Endless. Tell the Endless sorry that it took so long to release them. Crazy theory, I know, but of course, let me know what you think in the comments down below. But of course, now that we have the backstory and we've broken down the legendary ending where we're reintroduced with Atriox, what actually happened to him and how did he survive the destruction of the Silent Auditorium? Well, this is obviously a mystery to us at the time, but, well, I do actually have a theory that makes a lot of sense, and it starts from the point where Cortana destroys the Zeta Halo ring. We see throughout the story that Despondent Pyre was worried about Cortana and again perplexed as to how she knows anything at all around the Endless. Atriox didn't want to harm the ring and wanted to essentially take over it. Cortana's end goal was to destroy and prevent the Banished from taking over it. What if Despondent Pyre saved Atriox and placed him into some form of shield to save him from the blast to help her rebuild the ring at the time, or to prevent the Endless from escaping. The job of a monitor on the installation is that they don't want their Halo rings to be destroyed or for the Flood to have any chance of escaping or getting out. They're essentially the protectors or the guardians of those rings, meaning that any threat to them being destroyed, like we see in the campaign and the fight against Adjustant Resolution many times, he thinks that we're the bad ones trying to prevent the ring from being rebuilt. Of course, that's the reason why he's fighting it back against us, and the reason why he's not fighting against the Harbinger, because he initially thinks that she's trying to rebuild the ring. But then, of course, once he finds out that she's trying to release the Endless, that's when he starts to apologize to us and, of course, give us all the information around the Endless and why, of course, they can't be freed. What if Despondent Pyre recognized that Atriox was trying to take over the ring from Cortana, and she knew that Cortana was a threat to the ring and the Endless's containment? So maybe once the ring exploded, Despondent Pyre saved Atriox from the blast and teleported him somewhere else in the ring that isn't populated by the Banished just yet. And of course, this is the reason why the Banished think that Atriox is dead. He was teleported to another part of the ring by Despondent Pyre, and they don't know where he is. At this point, Esherum then frees the Harbinger, and Despondent Pyre then leaves Atriox in order to try and contain her again, but of course she ends up dismantling her and taking the key to begin the reformation of the Halo ring, and of course to try and free the Endless. What if within this time, whilst exploring this new part of the ring, Atriox comes across multiple structures and locations in which he explores, and comes across one which contains the key to the containment chamber. He takes it and spends his time searching for the containment facilities across the Halo ring, and then stumbles across the facility which contains the Endless. He finds out that the key that he's found opens all of the doors and just begins to investigate. Atriox has always been intrigued throughout the campaign about the ring's secrets, and he's not exactly afraid of anything, so what if he just thought, fuck it, let's have a look around. And as he gets further and further into the facility, the doors begin to open, and bosh! He comes to the end of the pathway, puts the key into the dock, and there are the Endless in their silexes. Atriox, not having a fucking clue what he's done, basically brought the end to the universe. But of course, within these silexes, I don't think that they're going to be released just yet. Again, you need a reclaimer or some form of human or forerunner to be able to open and activate these silexes. So at the time, I don't actually think that they can be released straight away. Obviously, Atriox can't release them because he's not a reclaimer or a forerunner. So maybe whoever Despondent Pyre was speaking to at the end of the game is the thing that can go ahead and release the Endless. Again, we don't know what that is. I think it potentially is another leader of the Endless. I don't think it is Atriox, and I don't think it is a Protogravemind. I think it is potentially another leader of the Endless that is a reclaimer that can release the Endless from those silexes. Again, let me know in the comments down below though. That's my theory. I think it does make a lot of sense, but it does explain how Atriox didn't time travel, and I don't think he did, because I don't think he would have the ability to do that. Again, I think he was teleported to another part of the ring to save him from the blast and to help Despondent Pyre rebuild the ring, which is what she thought, but of course she was then dismantled, and then of course Atriox just thought, fuck it, I'm going to explore the ring, finds the key, opens it, and releases the Endless and dooms the entire universe. Again, the Banished don't know that Atriox is alive, so now that Esherum is dead, I think that now Atriox will present himself to the Banished again, and they'll essentially then obviously join forces with Atriox again. He'll be the leader, and maybe this is where the Chief and Atriox fight against the Endless and the Flood and team together. But hey, well, of course, let's wait and see for the DLC to come out before we can put any of those pieces together. But yeah, really interesting to theorize about it and try and put those points together. But don't forget to drop a like on today's video, guys. It'd be much appreciated. And of course, subscribe for more videos on the channel coming pretty much every single day. But yeah. But also remember that if we hit 10k before the end of the new year, I'll be giving away a copy of the Halo Infinite Campaign and, of course, 10k store credits for multiplayer. So make sure you guys do hit that sub button if you want a chance to be in for winning that. Again, it'll only be for... Again, it might be a bit of a push, but we can always give it a go. But let me know your thoughts and opinions are down below in the comments as well. I'd be extremely interested to know your thoughts as well around this theory. And, of course, put your theories down below also. No matter how crazy they are, it'd be interesting to see exactly what you think and any outlandish or out-of-the-box theories that you can think of and that might make sense. But, of course, guys, have a great Christmas. Have a good rest of your day. Videos will return after Boxing Day, so enjoy your holiday. Merry Christmas, and we'll speak to you all soon.